Buckle up, Buttercup. It's Pittsburgh Sports Talk. Mike, we're here in Carnegie today, the home of Honus Wagner. You loved Honus Wagner. You probably got one of those baseball cards up in your basement or attic someplace.
We just talk football, Steelers.
Yeah, we'll just talk football. We'll just talk some Steelers because they finally got their first win against the Cincinnati Kitty Cats, Mike. You know, I was down on the South Side this week for the press conference. Steelers Nation, the Wildcat was unveiled on Monday Night Football, and I asked Coach Tomlin, what about the Wildcat?
Questions?
Coach, you were successful with the Wildcat last night. It's known as a gimmicky offense. Is that sustainable throughout the year? And you also suggested to take pressure off Mason. Where do you need to improve offensively to make Mason successful?
I just think continuity with the current pieces that we have are going to assist there. The fact that Nick is here another week, you know, that Zach Gentry has another game under his belt, that Deontay Johnson has another game under his belt. I think those are significant components in terms of aiding him in the ways that you suggest. I acknowledge that the Wildcat is somewhat gimmicky, but at the same time, you know, all of us in the National Football League are prepared for it week in and week out. We just don't get a lot of physical reps when we don't anticipate it. So from that standpoint, because it's on video, I would imagine that Baltimore is going to be prepared for it. But I imagine Baltimore is going to have a certain level of preparedness for it because of the nature and the functions of their offense. So, you know, we did what we had to do to win that game with given circumstances and the players available to us, and we'll shape a plan that puts us in position to win this one with the current mix of players and under the circumstances. And I acknowledge that it could be different. I acknowledge that it could be very different, quite frankly, than what you saw on Monday night. We're just in a fragile state right now, and we need to do whatever it is we need to do to move the ball and win football games.
Were you involved with suggesting the Wildcat, or where?
I'm involved in everything that we do. I don't run from that. I embrace that. I enjoy that. I enjoy providing that defensive perspective on some of our offensive discussions. You know, the last time we brought Wildcat out probably to that degree, we were on Monday night in San Diego a number of years ago, and we probably won our third or fourth quarterback and some other things like that. So, you know, you can't run it every week, to your point, but it was effective Monday night, and we'll see if we utilize it in a different way this week. I think that's just the challenge of the National Football League, not only for us, but for all of us. You know, what people are working on, what they're ready to employ in detail and utilize against you, changes week in and week out, and that's exciting.
Right. All right, Mike, you know better than I do. You played in the NFL. This Wildcat offense, it's a one-trick pony. It's a gimmick offense, baby.
Yeah, it's a good change-up. I mean, you can use it. You can, you know, just a change of speed. It's another way to get more speed on the field. You got Jalen Samuels. It's a way to get Jalen Samuels and James Conner in the backfield at the same time and kind of stretch the edge, stretch the defensive end so they can't completely collapse, and he can kind of run the read zone because Mason Rudolph's a quarterback. He's not a runner. So, I mean, he can run when you need to, when you get him to scramble outside the pocket, but you don't want him running the read zone.
Right. Loved Jalen Samuels. Where was he for the first 3 games? I don't know what Fichtner was thinking, but you saw the best of Jalen Samuels. Mike, he wasn't playing like a second-year guy. He was playing like a fourth, fifth-year running back. What I like about Samuels, man, he's got that little shake and bake. He followed his lineman. He got that little shake and bake going. I loved Jalen Samuels.
Yeah, and he's a change-up from James Conner. You know, James Conner is more of a downhill runner. Jalen Samuels has a little shake and get outside. Now, a couple of times he needs to follow his blocks a few more times. He kind of bounced outside the blocking, you know, got outside where there was nowhere to run. If he would have just pressed the hole, he might have had something. But, again, I like the change-up. I like getting him on the field. He's very versatile. He played tight end in college. He did some Wildcat in college as well, so he's used to it. And again, it's a way to get more speed on the field, and it was also just another way to get more runs in because they need to run the ball, and they did this week. You
can't just keep pounding James Conner up the middle like they did for the first 3 games. You can't get James Conner out around the edge. Now you got 2 legitimate running backs. Outstanding. We got the rest of the season to go. We're putting the pieces together on this offense. The tight end, you like this kid. I like this kid. He was laying some blocks on Monday night.
No, he did a great job on a short week too. He's got some good hands. He's got good size, and he really did a great job in the blocking game. He sprung a couple of those runs open, sealing the edge, and I actually thought he did a better job blocking than McDonald. But again, I thought the entire offense did a better job blocking this week. So it was a nice tone setter, and I think it was a nice pickup as well.
I think the offensive line, Mike, got tired of people saying, where'd they go? They're not as good as they were a couple of years ago. The line congealed. They played well. And again, to put in that Wildcat offense on short notice like that, a lot of the responsibility was on the offensive line when you throw in an offense like that on short notice. But the big deal is, I think it is, Mike thinks it is, guess what, baby? You found a franchise quarterback, Mason Rudolph. That release, Mike, that release.
Yeah, but hold up. You got to protect him some. He's all new. And the reason why they were successful is because they kind of protected him a little bit. He's 24 for 28. 3 passes were only over 10 yards. One was at 10 yards. 20 were 5 yards or less, and 12 of those were behind the line of scrimmage. Now, a lot of those were those little shovel passes, little flips.
Do those count as passes?
They count as passes, but they're really.
But he's just going like this.
Look, they had about, I believe, they had around 24 runs, and then he had 28 pass plays, and then there was 9 of those little shovel passes. So you add on, so you take 9 from the passing game. Now you're at 19 passes attempts. And your run game is from 24, it's up to 33 runs a game. So it was a much more balanced attack. That's how the Steelers need to win. That's how you need to win with a young quarterback who's, thrown into the fire like this. He didn't get any game time last year. He played, he was the third string guy. He was drafted. He got some preseason. Let me tell you something, preseason's different than regular season speed. When Ben went down, they had Josh Dobbs come in. So now this is Mason's turn to come in and get a chance to run the offense and in live action, in game time action, as opposed to preseason. There's preseason speed, there's regular season speed, then there's playoff speed, and then there's Super Bowl. So it gets faster and faster, and so it's a lot to handle. The defense needs to pick it up, and they have to rely on the run game. If you count those little shovel passes that are going to go down as passes, you count those actually as runs because they're getting out on the edge. They're basically runs. He's literally flipping at 1 foot, and they're catching it moving. That's 33 runs in the game and 19 passes. I love it. I love it because it takes the pressure off them. It also runs the clock. It keeps the clock running, makes the game shorter, and therefore you're not giving the other team as many possessions as a high-powered offense. If you got to come in and face like a New England or a Kansas City, now you're running the clock down a little bit and you're giving them less possessions.
Mike, and that's the point that I was about to go to. Okay, you brought out the Wildcat because you got a young quarterback, because maybe Randy Fichtner doesn't know exactly all the tools he has at his disposal, but it was against the Cincinnati Kitty Cats. This offense, and you know this better than I do, is not sustainable for an entire season. So Fichtner now, this is where the real pressure will become on your offensive coordinator. What comes out of his noodle next week against Baltimore? You now know you have 2 running backs that can perform for you. You have confidence, at least I do, and a lot of Steelers Nation does, in your quarterback to execute. From here, what does Randy Fichtner do, not just against the Ravens, but the rest of the schedule?
Well, the main thing is that Wildcat is going to give other teams just a headache to prepare for. Now they got to go in and say, okay.
But you can't run it each week, right? You can use it here and there.
You can bring it in every week, a little bit here and there. But here's the thing.
But not the whole game.
No, not the whole game. And they have to prepare for it. And you don't want to use the whole game because you have Mason Rudolph and you want him to grow. And this is a chance. This is a year-long audition for him. We're going to find out by the end of the year. If he plays bad, hey, he's done. We got to draft. We got to spend a draft pick on a quarterback this year. If he plays well, okay, hey, he's playing well enough. We got to continue to groom him. Hopefully Ben comes back, and we'll continue to groom him. If he balls out, it might be time to cut bait with Ben if he really plays that well. But it's just, again, it's a process. You can't just get thrown in expecting to be all world right away. Ben's a Pro Bowler. Ben's a Hall of Famer. So there's going to be some drop off there, okay? And to me, what I would love to see is Mason just run the offense. Don't try to fall into the same thing that Ben kind of do. You know, get your playmate. You know, he forced AB the ball. Rightfully so, you need to force him. But, you know, he had double, triple coverage. And then you had Juju. You don't need to force Juju the ball. He's not really separating right now. And again, I don't see the speed to be a legit top tier #1 receiver. I like Deontay Spencer coming in and stepping up. The touchdown he had, you know, Juju had triple coverage. He was the #1 read. Mason Rudolph read it, went to Deontay Johnson, who was wide open. It was an easy read because it was triple coverage. But that's what happens. A couple times earlier in the game, you got Juju coming in motion for these short routes out, and you know, he's kind of forcing it into coverage a little bit. If he just goes to the backside because the defense kind of shifts over, you got easy completions to the new tight end Vanette, and then even the flat route on the backside, you can pick up like a 5-yard pass and you can pick up 10, 15 yards because the whole defense is shifting over. So I would love to see him just run the offense, not so much you know, forcing the ball to Juju or forcing the ball to this guy or forcing the ball to that guy. Just take what the defense gives you. Again, sprinkle in some Wildcat, but heavy more run. They went under center a lot more this game as well. They added some more play action. Add more play action. Play action pass helped. Another one, he hit the second read on that, you know, that touchdown to James Conner in the on his first one. He kind of rolled. That was a shovel pass to Juju.
Right.
That's what that. He was coming underneath and he was supposed to shovel that, and it was kind of there. And James Conner popped and he took it. So again, I love the fact that he's not trying to force it to one guy. A couple times he did. Get away from that. Don't get stuck. Say, I got to feed this guy the ball. I got to feed this guy the ball. Take what the defense gives you. You got all the guys on the team are professionals. If they don't carry their weight, they'll eventually, you know, be gone. And you look at Moncrief, he's riding the bench right now, and they'll use him, and his opportunity will come again, and he better be ready for it when it does.
He had better be ready. One of the things that's going to happen with Rudolph, you know, Mike, I used to box a lot. When your adrenaline is up and you're nervous and you don't know what you're doing, you know, you're hyper, you're this. But when you know what you're doing, you can slow down, look at the guy, pop him with a jab, step back. This will happen for Rudolph. The game will slow for him. Then all of a sudden, you got 2 running backs. Jalen Samuels may be out of the backfield, you dump it to him. The Van Animal comes back. Now he relaxes. He can go to a second receiver. Maybe Van Animal's open.
Yeah, so
the emergence of Deontay as maybe your legitimate second wide receiver, I think this offense is going to grow and develop. I'm not saying they're going to any playoffs. Playoffs ain't going to happen, but at least, Mike, I don't think Steelers Nation or you or I feels like, oh my God, the boat is sinking.
No, I mean, you know, Cincinnati's boat sinking, okay? But,
it's sunk.
But, you know,
it's down at the Three Rivers. It's
and, you
boom.
know, and their offensive line was just awful. You know, you almost felt bad for Dalton a couple times. He's throwing the ball to the referee. You
The
can
red
just see
rifle.
how upset he was. But
He was shooting babies.
You know, you can, as the season goes on, you'll see Mason Rudolph start to progress. You'll see the game start to slow down. And what happens is when you're underneath pressure and you're in there, everything is moving fast. Your vision even tightens up. And it gets to the point where you'll start to notice it in his body language. You know, he's not going to be as hyper. You know, he'll be a little calmer, and he'll just kind of walk up to the line of scrimmage and see things a little bit. And that just happens over time and with more and more reps.
Confidence.
And confidence. So, again, the way to get him confidence is run game, defense, hold teams,
and keep him upright.
mix in some play action.
Keep him upright.
Yeah, but he's not really getting hit. I mean,
Which is great.
because he gets the ball pretty quick as well. Now, granted, you know, they only had 3 passes over 10 yards. You know, one, and then the fourth one was right at 10 yards. But again, give him credit. He's making decisive reads and he's getting rid of it.
You know, Mike, I'm fine with him not going downfield. You know, Fichtner went after him after the first game and said he needs to put the ball down the field. I'm fine with them not doing it. He needs to gain his confidence. The game needs to slow down. I think the kid's got a great release. That is gonna come where finally he can drill one 40 yards down the field because maybe Juju's got double coverage, maybe Deontay's wide open, or Van Ant. Hey, it's Tank Tantlinger, and Art Rooney and I got something for you. Like our Facebook page, Pittsburgh Sports Talk, Pittsburgh Sports Talk, like our Facebook page, and we're going to choose one lucky person to win my new book, Harry Greb, Pittsburgh's first sports superstar, and also a $25 Pittsburgh Steeler zero friction golf glove. Really simple, baby. Like our Pittsburgh Sports Talk page, and one lucky person in December will win my new book about Harry Greb, the baddest man ever to walk the streets of Pittsburgh, PA, and a Pittsburgh Steelers $25 zero friction golf glove. Pittsburgh Sports Talk. Like us on Facebook.